In a tranquil mountain village, morning mist swirled around, and sunlight slowly rose from distant peaks, casting a golden glow over lush rice fields. Here lived a Shiba Inu named Chai, its fur resembling autumn maple leaves, a mix of brown and white, with round, bright eyes that seemed to hold countless secrets. Chai was the village's star, whether in the old lady's vegetable garden or the children's playground. It always bounded around, its curled tail wagging like a cheerful windmill. The villagers often said Chai wasn't just a dog but a messenger of the mountain god, guarding the land's peace. Yet, no one knew that deep in Chai's heart lay a dream, to see the world beyond the village and find the legendary Star Spring, said to grant any wish. Chai's owner was a 15-year-old boy named Amin, already the village's most promising hunter apprentice. Amin and Chai shared an extraordinary bond, having grown up together through countless sunsets and starry nights. By the campfire, Amin would tell Chai tales of the village's legends. Deep in the mountains, there was a hidden spring, and drinking its water could fulfill one's deepest desire. Each time Chai heard this story, its eyes sparkled, and its tail wagged even faster, as if it truly understood. Amin would laugh, patting its head, saying, "Chai, you want to go on an adventure, don't you?" Chai would let out a cheerful woof, as if answering point. One morning, a stranger arrived in the village. Clad in a tattered cloak, carrying a bulging sack, his face bore the marks of weathered journeys. Sitting on a stone bench in the village square, he shared his tale, claiming he'd ventured deep into the mountains and glimpsed the Star Spring but was thwarted by and wild beasts. The villagers listened eagerly, though most dismissed it as mere legend, chuckling as they left. Chai, however, was different. It sat by the traveler, ears perked, as if absorbing every word. The traveler noticed the unique Shiba Inu, knelt down, and whispered, "Little one, you seem to understand me. If you're truly going, remember, the Star Spring lies where 3 mountains meet, guarded by a giant wolf. Only a pure heart can pass its test." Chai tilted its head, letting out a soft whimper, as if making a promise. That night, Chai lay by Amin's feet but couldn't sleep. It recalled the traveler's words and the tales of the Star Spring. Its wish was simple, for Amin to be forever happy and the village to remain safe. But it knew Amin had been downcast lately, game was scarce, and with winter approaching, everyone feared food shortages. Chai thought, if it could find the Star Spring, perhaps everything would be all right. Quietly, it rose, glanced back at the sleeping Amin, and stepped into the night, embarking on its adventure. The night forest was full of unknowns, with insect chirps and wind weaving a mysterious symphony. Chai's small paws crunched on fallen leaves, and though afraid, it pressed on. Its keen nose sniffed the air, following instinct deeper into the mountains. Moonlight filtered through the treetops, cloaking Chai in a silver armor of fur. On the first night, it encountered an injured fox curled under a tree root, eyes wary. Instead of pouncing, Chai approached gently, licked the fox's wound, and dragged dry grass to cover it. Stunned, the fox hadn't expected such kindness. It murmured, "You're going for the Star Spring, aren't you? I've heard of it. There's a river ahead, fast and treacherous, be careful." Chai nodded and continued. The river was as the fox described, its currents wild, mist obscuring the far bank. Chai tried wading but was quickly swept off balance. Sitting by the river, it pondered and noticed a fallen tree spanning the water, rickety but the only way across. Taking a deep breath, Chai stepped onto the trunk, moving cautiously with each step. When it finally reached the other side, its tail shot up, and it let out an excited bark, celebrating its triumph. As the journey deepened, Chai faced more challenges. Once, a ferocious wild boar chased it, but Chai nimbly darted into a narrow cave where the boar couldn't follow, eventually leaving in frustration. Inside the cave, Chai found a glowing stone radiating warmth. It carried the stone in its mouth. Discovering it lit the path ahead, guiding it through the darkness. Chai thought this might be the mountain god's guidance, strengthening its resolve. Days later, Chai reached the convergence of three mountains. The air was crisp and mystical, with distant wolf howls sending shivers down its spine. Following the sound, it arrived at an open meadow, where a clear spring reflected starlight, as if the entire night sky had melted into it. This was the Star Spring. But beside it stood a massive silver wolf, its fur shimmering under the moon, eyes like burning flames, fixed on Chai. "Little dog, why have you come?" The wolf's voice was deep and commanding. Chai didn't flinch. It raised its head, letting out a clear bark, as if proclaiming its wish. The wolf stepped closer, sniffed Chai, and said, "Your heart is pure, but the Star Spring grants only one wish. Are you sure your wish is for others, not yourself?" Chai nodded, eyes resolute. The wolf paused, then stepped aside, saying, "Go, drink from the spring. Your wish will come true. But remember, true power lies not in the water but in your heart." Chai approached the spring carefully and took a sip. The water was cool and sweet, flowing through its body like a spark of light. Closing its eyes, it made its wish, for Amin and the village to be forever safe and happy. When it opened its eyes, the spring still flowed quietly, but the wolf had vanished. Exhausted yet fulfilled, Chai turned and began the journey home. The return was smoother, as if the forest's beasts and storms made way for it. When Chai finally reached the village at dawn, Amin was frantically searching at the entrance. Seeing Chai, he rushed over, hugging it tightly. "Chai, where did you go? I was so worried." Chai licked Amin's hand, letting out a cheerful bark, as if saying, "I'm fine." Just then, joyful shouts echoed from the village. Hunters had found the forest teeming with game overnight, as if the mountains had come alive again. Villagers spread the word, calling it the mountain god's blessing. Amin looked at Chai, as if realizing something. He knelt down and whispered, "It was you, wasn't it, Chai? What did you do?" Chai just wagged its tail and bounded toward the village center, as if nothing had happened. From that day, the village never lacked food, and Amin grew brighter, always running through the hills with Chai, sharing new stories. Chai never spoke of its adventure, and no one knew the Star Spring secret. It stayed quietly by Amin's side, its tail curled perfectly, eyes holding a glint only it understood. For Chai, the greatest joy wasn't fulfilling a wish but seeing Amin and the village smile. It knew the true Star Spring wasn't the clear water but its love for this land and Amin. The story spread, and village children wove tales about Chai, calling it the mountain god's incarnation, saying it had journeyed alone through the mountains to find the Star Spring. They gathered around Chai, vying to pet its fur, listening to its happy barks. And Chai, basking in it all, occasionally looked toward the distant mountains, as if reliving its adventure. Do you still like today's story? If you like, please remember to subscribe to this channel and click the like icon. You can receive notifications and hear the latest stories as soon as possible. Good night, my baby.